Well, Gareth joins us now from his home in Bridgend in Wales for his first television interview since revealing his diagnosis. Good morning to you, sir. How lovely to talk to you.
Lovely to speak to you both as well. Thank you for having me on.
No, it's not. It's a pleasure. So this was a routine sexual health checkup, and you've been before and expecting the same answer. Yeah, everything's fine. Carry on with your life. And then you were given the news.
Yeah, I didn't feel unwell. I didn't feel like there was anything wrong with me. And then being told that I was HIV positive, for me, the only knowledge I had of anybody living with HIV was that of darkness and death. So straight away, all I can describe it as was like a train hitting me at 300 miles an hour, and then panicking and how I'm going to tell my family, how they're going to know that I'm not going to be around in the next couple of years, how I'm going to continue with my life for the short space of life I've got left. Because I had no knowledge of what living with HIV would be, apart from, as we all know, the adverts from the 80s with the tombstone and the death that surrounded it is exactly where my mind and body went to at that moment that I was told.
And things did get incredibly dark for you. I mean, you couldn't see a future with this. You'd already decided that because of this diagnosis, your life was over, and you did become suicidal.
Yeah, I did. I had suicidal thoughts, because that's the thing, is your life is going to be kind of over anyway. And I felt, you know, I felt like I needed to kind of trust people, because I needed to try and find some kind of support. And when you trust people with a secret, then what you find out is that you become really vulnerable to them people. And by entrusting them, I felt that they were then somehow using that to make me even more vulnerable, which kind of spiraled completely out of control, because I could wake up one day feeling like I was in a good mood, but then the people who had that information on me could potentially be in a bad mood, therefore want to make my life bad on that day. So I had no control over my life anymore. I had no control over my destiny anymore.
Yeah.
Well, you had to, obviously and sensibly, had to call any past sexual partners that you'd had, and then you've got to tell your parents, but you decided not to tell any other members of the family.
Yeah, I decided not to tell anybody because, you know, I got an amazing family and an amazing group of friends, and the people I chose not to tell, it was because I chose to protect them, because I felt that if I told them, then they're going to be kind of afraid of what's going to happen to me. So I didn't want to add to anybody's worries. I didn't want to add to anybody's issues. I just wanted, and I didn't want people to treat me differently, because that's the thing, is that I'm not ill, and I wasn't ill. But when people then find out, all of a sudden people look at you different, or they treat you different, or they speak to you different, or they act different. You know, I didn't want people to know, because I didn't want my brother to potentially, who didn't have the knowledge of it, be afraid of me like cuddling my niece or wanting to hold people. But I just thought, because they didn't know, then they're going to be afraid of that. And I knew that that wouldn't be the case. So I didn't want to scare everybody. I wanted to protect everybody, and that's why I chose not to tell people.
There is a huge lack of knowledge here. And that is why you didn't want to go public with this in the first place. There is no doubt about that, and we can see how emotional you are. You want to be part of the story here. You want to be able to help dispel some of these myths. What would you like to see change?
Right, well, first of all, I took control of this because I wanted to take control of my life. And then a couple of months in, after having decided, you know what, the best way is to tell people, so people have the knowledge, because the only knowledge people have right now is that, the little knowledge they have right now is the knowledge from the 80s. And medicine has moved on so far, and living with HIV is a condition that doesn't threaten my life or my lifespan in any way, or my health at all, because I'm on treatment and it's undetectable. So I wanted to put that out there. I wanted people to know, because there was going to be millions of people who were living in the fear that I was living with. So I wanted to make, and we made a documentary to show that I'm taking control of my life and I'm going to tell people and educate. But halfway through the documentary, I realised that my realisation for making that has changed, because I've learned that I wanted to take control of my life, but I know now that it's not about me. It's so selfish to make it about me. It's about everybody else living with and affected by, because it's not just people who are living with HIV that this affects. It affects their parents. It affects their friends. And I think as society, if we all understand, right, then I'd love to try and change the world, but on this issue. But as a society, if we understand that living with HIV doesn't affect anybody if they're on effective treatment, then as a society, nobody has to be afraid. People living with it, people walking past, people on the streets, people in the cafe, people drinking out of the same glasses, people tending wounds. There's no risk of passing it on. So I wanted people to realise and to learn that sometimes you get pushed into a corner, and I decided to come out fighting. But I've come out fighting to try and change the views of not just people living with it, but people who are affected by it and society in general. So we have the knowledge just to create a better place for people.
Gareth, the other aspect to this story is that, you know, with a story like this, you want to be able to choose the time that you share it. You want to be able to be in control of that story. And from what we have read, you were blackmailed. You were being blackmailed.
Yeah, I was. And so you get pushed into a corner, right? And people have power over you, and you become vulnerable because you have to keep these people happy. You have to keep them on your side. Otherwise, they'll say something
when you're not
ready to tell them.
Were you being asked for money, or what was the terms of the blackmail?
I was basically being asked for a lot of things. A lot of things that I couldn't physically deliver. But I just think that when people demand something from you and you don't give it, all that happens is it goes up and up and up, and this goes up and that goes up, until you get to a point where you just think, do you know what? Whatever you've got to do it.
But you've
but
chosen...
then they realise that if they do it, they no longer have the control over you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you've chosen...
So, but I decided to do it myself.
To take control, which is absolutely the best way to do it, and the outpouring of support has been massive. Have you got the police involved with the blackmail, or is it merely the fact that you pulled the rug out from underneath them that you're going to let that go?
Yeah, do you know what? I don't want to go any further, right? I don't want to take further steps, even though I'm entitled to and I'm capable of. I don't want to, because to me, this whole thing is not about me. If I've gone through the last couple of years of hell for my life, right? For the next couple of years, or for the rest of however long we're all on this planet living with HIV, to be beneficial and to be worthwhile, then the last couple of years I've been through, I can live with that. That's cool. What I want to do is I want to move forward. I think when we think of HIV, we all think of the dark times. We all think of the past, and that's kind of what this all was. This whole blackmail thing. It's the past. I'm going to move forward with my life, living with HIV. And the only way I can do that, and the only way I can continue to stay positive, is to forget about the people who keep wanting to drag me back.
Sure.
Forget about the people who keep wanting to write about HIV being connected to AIDS, being connected to death. It is not connected to death. It is not. It's connected to life and living with. And that is what I'm doing to the maximum. I am living life to the maximum. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not scared. You can come after me, but I fight. I did a freaking Ironman yesterday to show everyone, to show the world. And I really felt in Tenby on Sunday that for one small moment, some guy from Bridgend who doesn't have a GCSE to his name actually changed the world for a split second. And that to me meant that the last couple of years of my life, living hell, do you know what? Crossing that finish line, it was worth it, because they drove me to do it.
Well, you crossed the finishing line into the arms of your husband Stephen, who you told very early on in your relationship. Astonishing what you have to do. It's incredible.
Brutal.
Yeah, it is. And what people don't realise is 5 months ago, I couldn't swim, so I had to learn to swim to be able to do it. But what I wanted it to show, I know, what I wanted to show was that stereotypically, when we think of somebody who's living with HIV, because it's what we've been taught, we think of somebody who's frail, somebody who's weak. And also, it was, again, that day wasn't about me. And I can tell you, when you watch this documentary that I made, right, public opinion and public support for me that day, I have never experienced anything in my life. When I came out of transition from the bike to the run, I stopped at my husband because I couldn't breathe. Not because I was so tired, I was tired, but not because I was so tired, but because of the fact that the cheer and the emotion of support towards me took my breath away. It literally
every
stopped
quarter
me in my tracks.
I mean, you were absolutely not in any way weak or vulnerable. I mean, you were like a lion.
He said, Gareth, you were an absolute legend in sharing your story of being HIV positive. You are saving lives and shattering stigma by showing you can be strong and resilient whilst living with HIV. We should all be appalled by the way you're forced to speak your truth. It is yours and yours alone to share on your terms, and I and millions stand with you. And that work is set to continue.
Yeah, listen, for me, right, I would be a complete hypocrite if this was the end for me. This is only the beginning for me. You know, I feel I've stood up because I was forced to stand up. This is not information that I kind of really wanted to put out there because it's my information on my family's. But I was forced to do it, and trust me, this for me is only the start. And to be working alongside Prince Harry, who weirdly I had a text yesterday, and it's not every day I get a text like this saying, "No, can we have your home number because Prince Harry wants to call you?" And I was kind of looking at my phone and saying, "Can you give me a time that you're in?" And I thought, "Oh, I'm feeling a bit tired tonight, so you can call me tomorrow, Harry." So I'm gonna be speaking to him later, and we're gonna work together. And also, Terence Higgins Trust has been unbelievably amazing, supportive to me, my family, my friends. I couldn't have got through it. I could not be here. I would not be here today without the love and support of my family. And you know what? To the people who've put me in this position, then trust me, you picked on the wrong person because I'm a fighter.
Yeah, no doubt.
Stronger than ever. Stronger than ever.
Thank you so much.
It's so lovely to talk to you.
It really is.
So next time.
Well, I just want to say something really quickly. Really quickly, Philip. I don't know if you remember. 6 years ago, I did Dancing on Ice with you. And I never forget a promise, and I promised you a bottle of whiskey because you were so empathetic to me in the way when I got ill, above and beyond being a presenter. You've probably forgotten. I never forget a promise. This is the bottle of whiskey to you that I'm going to send back up for you to enjoy. From Wales, Penderyn, the best whiskey you can have.
I thought you'd forgotten, but thank you very
I never forget.
He definitely wouldn't forget that, let me tell you.
I never forget the offer of a bottle of whiskey, that's for sure.
Lots of love. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care.
Right, we'll be back.
I think that documentary is on
BBC
tomorrow
Wales
night at
tomorrow?
BBC Wales, yeah.